Hi, everyone. I'm Robin Donovan, editor-in-chief of Signs of the Times Magazine. Thanks so much for joining us for Finding Opportunity in Crisis, Digital Signage Solutions to Help Your Business, presented by Samsung. Businesses around the world, large and small, are experiencing unprecedented challenges in daily business operations. Owners and operators are working together with their partners to find new and innovative ways to reopen and get back to business. Finding flexibility and new ways to use new and old business marketing and communications displays has proven helpful in helping to communicate with customers and support new business practices. We have 4 speakers for you today, and I'm going to let them introduce themselves one by one. Let's start with Ed Lyden, Senior Sales Manager, Samsung Electronics America.
Thank you, Robin. Hi, name's Ed Lyden. I'm from McKinney, Texas. I run our channel program for our outdoor LED business, as well as a team of sales reps for our indoor display also. Been with Samsung for 9 years and avid bad golfer, as a fun fact.
Awesome. Thank you, Ed. Next up, we have Kevin Eisen. He is the Senior Product Manager, also from Samsung Electronics America.
Yeah, so thanks, Robin. I'm from Logan, Utah, northern portion of Utah, where one of our factories is at. I've been with Samsung for, I guess, a couple years now, but been in the LED display industry for about 12 years. Work in product development, product management, so kind of directing what we produce and being a technical expert for Ed's sales teams and helping educate our customers.
Fantastic. And one of our outside speakers, Juan Moreno, is with AAA Electrical Signs.
Hey guys, good afternoon. My name is John Moreno. I am with AAA Signs, a tri-state company that deals with Texas, Oklahoma, Louisiana. We are a great partner with Prism View Samsung, and look forward to your questions, guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you, John. And finally, Natasha Del Barrio is the CEO of Burt Ogden Auto Group.
Hi, thank you for having me. I'm the CEO of Burt Ogden Auto Group, which is 22 dealerships in South Texas.
Great. And so before we begin our roundtable discussion, Ed and Kevin have some more information about opportunities with Samsung Display. I'll let them tell you more.
Thanks, Robin. Let me talk a little bit about Samsung. Let's advance the slides here. So Samsung display business is about 25% of the world market share. And one of the most interesting pieces is that 2 billion plus consumers touch a Samsung device every day. One of the other things I think is really interesting is that Samsung as a company, we spend $15.6 billion a year on R&D. And 90% of all our products are produced and manufactured by Samsung. So, and we're also the #1 patent holder in the U.S., beating out IBM, which is a pretty substantial thing. Wanted to touch a little bit on our products. We have a very vast line of display products. And we're going to touch a little bit more in detail on some versus the others. But we're going to talk about our LED walls. And we have indoor LED, which are our micro view LED. We've got our outdoor LED, which Kevin's going to touch more on. And we have outdoor display products that I'm going to talk a little bit about, just touch on those. And then our LCD video walls, our interactive products. We have specialty displays that are kind of stretch, and we have 13-inch displays. So one of the things that I did want to share with you that kind of signs of the times is Eddie Gossett is the president of Texas Motor Speedway. And he was discussing them opening up the racetrack this weekend for the O'Reilly 500. And one of the things he said that I thought was really interesting and appropriate is that they will have 10,000 signs out there at their racetrack this weekend. And that really goes to show you how things are out there, how they're changing. But I thought that was an interesting fact. I mentioned some of the outdoor signs that people don't always think of, but Samsung has we have what's called the OH series product line. And that is a fully functional outdoor display. In fact, if you go to a McDonald's drive-through, it's a Samsung outdoor display. We also have a OM series, which is a outdoor facing. So it's inside your building, outdoor facing with a 4,000 nit brightness. And then we have a dual-sided one of those displays, which is 3,000 nits facing out to the street, and then 1,000 nits inside. Ultra thin, but these are kind of some of the technologies and the solutions that Samsung's coming out there that, we sometimes don't think about, that Samsung's really in the forefront with that. So wanted to touch on that. We also have a new product. It's a terrace TV. So it's a outdoor television for bars and restaurants and things like that, that can be used. It's got its own business app for signage, but it also can be used as a straight out television for outdoors and covered areas like bars. I did want to touch on some of the COVID solutions. So these are critically important, as we all know. And in the March timeframe, Samsung got together with some of its strategic partners to say, what is it that customers are going to need from a signage perspective? So we've created multiple solutions with our strategic partners, temperature sensing devices with message boards. We've got traffic control for social distancing. We've got a locker set up with signage for pickup and delivery. And for some of our large spaces, we've got a solution that's for stadiums and retail that will do wellness and social distancing. So lots of different options out there that we're trying to present to our customers, so that it's not all about, here's the display. So I just wanted to touch on that. And then if we go to the next slide, lastly, just talk about kind of our vertical presence. Samsung, we are focused and with specific teams calling on healthcare, hospitality, education, retail, our live events, entertainments and spectaculars, and our QSR. We've got solutions tied to these particular verticals, and we're more than happy to work with our dealers and partners to help advance them in these accounts. I'll turn it over to Kevin now. Kevin, you there?
All right, it seems like we lost Kevin for a minute. Ed, did you want to tell us a little bit about the LED displays, or we can move to the roundtable?
I haven't actually looked at all of Kevin's his slides, so I'm not quite sure what some of these about, but I can tell you at least certainly if hopefully Kevin pops back. Oh, there you go.
Oh, there he is.
I don't know what happened there. I'm back now. I was there the whole time, but I don't know what happened. So sorry about that. Thanks, Ed. So I'm going to try and go through some of this fairly quickly. I mean, there's a lot of technology here that we have, and just to kind of reiterate some of the things that Ed said, you look at our product offering as a whole, and we have several different levels, different technologies, because we know that each implementation is going to be a little different, right? What one customer needs isn't exactly what the other customer needs. And so that's why we have, some of these solutions that you may go, well, that's kind of redundant, but, it's to fit the needs of all the customer bases. So, and part of that was the integration. So a couple of years ago, Samsung purchased PrismView, and for those of you who don't know, PrismView has a long history in outdoor LED, also indoor LED, but focused largely on outdoor, and that's kind of where my presence comes from. And so I just wanted to go through some of the major aspects of what PrismView offers and how that ties into Samsung. So that's a relationship and a system that's going to continue on for the next long while, I think. So just as far as some of our customer bases, right? So we work with pro sports, we work with out-of-home advertising companies. I mean, a lot of digital signage implementations throughout the world, right? So just here's some of our current customers. And just to kind of talk about what PrismView does, right? So we have a manufacturing facility based in Logan, Utah, and then we also have the Samsung main factory based out of Tijuana. And those work in concert to develop, custom solutions, right? So some of our flagship locations, just recently, we've finished or almost finished the SoFi Stadium screen, and a lot of that's custom, right? We're using pieces produced at the Tijuana factory, integrated with that custom solution out of the PrismView factory in Logan. And so all this includes, metal fabrication. We're doing custom engineering work and PCB assembly in Logan there. So just a all-encompassing package to do those custom projects. And then kind of some of the more detailed solutions, right? We're interested in offering that end-to-end solution, right? So you can have one-stop shop to come in, and we can work with structural design, we can work with construction services, on-site project management. There's a lot of different levels there, so we can help out, fill the voids in your offering. And then LED design, that's our big specialty, right? And this image that you're looking at here, it's a rectangle screen. That's pretty easy, right? But some of these custom curved screens, that's where our expertise coming in and designing, waterproof or water resistant displays to go in all these different facilities to fit a custom nature. That's where our expertise really shines. And then also structural engineering, this the Oculus structure, we're all involved with that engineering and doing that, and that's all part of what you get when you access our services, right? We're not just an LED provider, right? We're a full solution provider. We talked a little bit about this, right? So the construction management and punch metal fabrication, engineering services, and then we do system integration. So this is something that a lot of people maybe don't realize, right? So when we do the Oculus, right, at the SoFi Stadium, there's a big control room that's behind that, right? And so all that control room, there's a lot of third-party components that we integrate into a full solution to work and operate the whole screen, right? So that's a service we provide that's very custom, right? Because each production facility is a little bit different than the next. And so we need to integrate different solutions to meet those needs. And then we also do content management, right? So I feel like I'm kind of going on in here, but there's a lot of different services we provide, content management, network operations center, broadcast control rooms for indoor LED solutions. And I think we'll have some more questions and talking about that in the future. And then service and maintenance, right? So a big part of outdoor displays and indoor displays is that there are going to be failures either through physical damage or through failure of the product due to weather or Mother Nature. And so we'll be there to support that, through our service and maintenance agreements. And then I'll turn it back over to Ed to kind of talk some about our market footprint as well as what we do for meeting our customers' needs for the sales side.
Thanks, Kevin. Yeah, so we've got a team of sales reps out there to assist our partners and end users. From the dealer side, we've got 4 dedicated reps across the country, and we also have end user reps that can also assist for your regular display needs that are out there. So we're very excited to be able to work with the team. They're very experienced, have been around for quite a long time, and looking forward to working with our dealers and customers. That's it for me.
All right. Thank you so much, Ed. So folks, before we get into our roundtable discussion, we've got a few topics that we're happy to cover. Also wanted to let you know that everyone who's in on the webinar, you're free to submit a question using the little Q&A submission. And if we don't get to your question for whatever reason, feel free to send it again. We will be taking those live while the discussion is happening. So don't be shy. This is your opportunity. This is why you're here, to get those questions answered. So folks, let's jump right in. And I was hoping that you could give me some ideas about trending right now with new technologies that are supporting businesses. We know we're in kind of a tough time. And you guys could start with this one and let us know, how is technology supporting business as we're trying to navigate all the craziness?
Yeah, so I can take a stab at this first, and I'd love to hear Ed's feedback as well, right? So I think the biggest trend I'm seeing today is flexible solutions, right? So solutions that allow somebody to meet the current COVID need of communicating with their customer base through maybe different access to their facilities or through special restrictions that are in place, but also then that maybe 6 months down the road, once we're through this, they can reuse those solutions for traditional digital signage, but have it be a flexible solution. That's where I see a lot of people trying to get that. They want to meet the current need, but understand that it's not going to be like that forever.
Okay, perfect. And John and Natasha, did you have anything to add?
Yeah, as far as that's concerned, we do have quite a bit of customers out there right now that are actually asking for either electronic message centers, video displays. And the reason they want to do that is because they're trying to communicate more with the customer. The fact that they're on 24/7, it actually allows them, gives them the flexibility to put information out there. Not just about the COVID, but about when they're going to start to reopen, what capacity their business is at, what they're doing to prevent any more spreading. For public service announcements, they're using them a lot. And that's a great thing, especially down here in South Texas. It's very visual, is communication. So the more they see it, Bird Ogden's doing it right now. They're putting it on all their digital billboards. They do have 3 across the valley, about to get their 4th one. And they do have digital message centers throughout their dealerships, and they're putting that information out there. And not just the COVID-19, they also put down, we just had 2 police officers that were shot in the line of duty. They just put them up. They're putting the information out there, letting the public know what's going on and making them aware of what we're going through down here in South Texas.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. So could you speak a little bit to that? I think the audience might be curious to know how often you're changing your content and what kinds of things you're finding most useful.
We've used message centers for, since I was a child. Certainly they were not nearly as advanced and high tech as what we've got today. But I've got to say that the last probably 6 months of usage has been the best and proudest usage of these signs. Certainly we put our business messages out there and advertise our specials and, details like that for the customers. But where we've really seen an impact is where we can use it for the community. And so certainly we're very deeply involved in our community and involved in a lot of philanthropy. And so I'd say we've probably got a good 50-50 ratio. Sometimes it's not even 50% business. A lot of times it's a lot more public service announcements, which, funny enough, has a direct connection back to your business presence. Certainly, as large as we are and as much as the community is growing, it's still a place that very much has a small hometown feel. And so people want to do business with people that they know. And so these signs have been an extension of our community partnership and ways to create awareness. And so certainly we've taken extensive measures in our facilities regarding the pandemic. And so this has been a great way to express to the customers how they're safe in our facilities and everything that we're doing. And it's a big difference to say that we use an antimicrobial sanitation system before and after we service every single vehicle, and we use gloves and we put steering wheel covers on. It's one thing to say it, but it's another thing to see the image of that happening on these screens, and it just delivers a very different sense of confidence. And there's a lot of great things we've been able to do with it as well, from prioritizing service for first responders and medical professionals, to honoring our fallen law enforcement heroes, to notifying the elderly of which grocery stores and which pharmacies had special hours or delivery services. So there's been a variety of ways that we have been able to use it. And then certainly in different times, we've used it also to promote charitable causes and community events that we agree with and support. And so it's very much an advertising tool for us, no doubt, but it's really an extension of our culture into the community in a very large, very vivid, very constant, real-time sort of way that reminds them not only of our sales and specials, but of our partnership and commitment to the community. So our content changes. I mean, if I'm honest with you, there's not a regular schedule for it. We've been running the COVID-19 related information since, I want to say, March. So that's been a pretty consistent message. But then intertwined with that, that stuff will change just depending on what the nature of the situation is with the manufacturer, anywhere from every 2 weeks to once a month, just depending on needs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. And I know, from Signs of the Times, we're hearing lots and lots of people that need very changeable content because regulations are changing, closures are changing, guidelines are changing, and everyone's trying to reassure customers by using signage that it's a safe place to come in and be a customer of yours. So kind of transitioning a little more back toward the product side, I'd like to shift and talk a bit about what customers are asking for in digital displays. And Ed, maybe it would be good to start with you on this one. Are we seeing any demands, sizes, tighter pixel pitch, color fixed packages? Like, what are you seeing in terms of demand?
Yeah, thanks, Robin. So we're definitely seeing tighter pixel pitches. The image is becoming that much more important, and catching your eye and being able to have your eye rest on that and be able to pick up the messaging is critically important. I think that, back to what Natasha said, that the messaging to the community and messaging out to your customers is becoming critically important right now. And being able to have, the digital signage, whether that's in front of your school or whether that's in front of your restaurant, is becoming that much more important. And I think the quality as the price comes down, the quality is very, very high quality.
Okay, so I think, just speaking to that balance of price and quality is important. What about, maybe this is more for John, what are you seeing in what your customers are asking for? So I know, Samsung might be talking more to signage providers, and you're talking more to folks, business leaders like Natasha, who are looking for this as a solution in reopening and maintaining that customer trust and relationship. So what are you seeing in terms of customer demands, John?
Well, out here deep in Deep South Texas, the biggest customer demand is peace of mind. What they're asking for is a good quality product that's actually going to last a while. Currently down here in South Texas, we've had some signs that have been up for 25 years. They're old EMC units. Bird Ogden has some that are 15 years old. Their biggest thing now is the pixel pitch. We're currently doing a project here for Don ISD. We weren't the lowest vendor, we were actually the highest vendor, but what sold them on the project was we're doing an 8mm Samsung unit. We're doing 23 schools, and their biggest thing was peace of mind. We're a local sign company that actually manufactures and installs and services a Samsung unit. So that's what they're looking for. They're not really looking at price anymore. What they're looking for is a quality product that's going to last for the next 10, 15, 20 years. And that's what they're looking for. They want peace of mind is the biggest thing. And communication with the dealer. A lot of it, they're calling sign companies, and some companies don't do free surveys. We do offer free surveys around all over the valley, all over South Texas. We also offer free designs. We don't charge for any of that. We actually go out there, and from the step 1 to step 20, we're there with the customer, and even after the sale's done, we're still there for them. And that's the biggest thing is peace of mind. They want to make sure that when they go to bed at night, that sign's going to continue to work for the next 15 years, and that's what we offer down here. And that's what they're looking for, which is why Bird Ogden is one of our biggest customers, because that's what we do for them. We've enlarged, we've installed 3 large digital billboards for them, one of them being a 3-sided billboard on Cherry Road, and the other one's right next to the outlet mall in Mercedes. That one, all of them are 80 feet tall. The one coming up in Edinburgh, that one's going to also be a 3-sided billboard because they're targeting both the expressway northbound and southbound, and then east and westbound traffic as well. So that's what we look into. At the same time, what we also offer is when we talk to a customer about a digital sign, we give them what their current traffic count is in front of their business, because in some of them, we talk them out of a digital sign because they don't really need one. All they need is a sign. But that's what we do. We meet with the customer, we emotionally connect with them, and become their business partner. And that their biggest thing is, like I said before, is peace of mind. That's what they're looking for.
Yeah, for sure. And so when do you said you talk to some folks and you'll say the traffic dictates that you need this type of sign or that type of sign. Which people would you say, hey, you really need to change to a digital sign? What are those parameters?
A lot of them are if they're on a major thoroughfare, a major highway. A lot of them, if they're, for example, in McAllen, 10th Street is a major street, 23rd Street is a major street. What determines that is I actually have a website I go into, and it'll give me the traffic count for the last 5 years and the growth of the last 5 years. And based on that is what I give my recommendations on. That's why I'm not a salesman, I'm a consultant. I'm there to consult with my customers and make sure that they get their biggest bang for their buck.
Yeah, and that's a nice little sales line. I hope everyone listening caught. You said, I'm not a salesperson, I'm a consultant. So that idea of partnering. And I think, a lot of what I hear you saying is kind of the stress reduction aspect of you're going to do the design, you're going to provide the service, you're not going to have to worry about installing something and then you disappear. So I think that's really important.
Correct.
So, awesome. So as we're looking at potentially like replacing some large format print with LED displays or flat panel displays, are you seeing demand for that? Is that something that you have to bring up? Are customers asking you for that?
There are quite a bit of customers now, especially municipalities, cities, are asking for interior video displays. And what they want to use them for is they want to use them for the first responders, because a lot of them have 20, 30 cameras all over town, and they're tired of seeing 20, 30 television sets. They'd rather do one big message center that can actually divide itself into 20, 30 different sets, to where they needed to zoom into just one, they can also do that. So we do have quite a bit of cities doing that. We do have quite a bit of large venues doing it as well, because they want to be able to advertise more information. The more screens, the more advertisement spots you have. So that's what they're looking into as well. And what they're looking for is a smaller pixel pitch, which is what Samsung provides for us.
Okay. So Kevin, can you speak to that in product selection and getting someone to the right product and working with Samsung items? Can you talk about some of the specs and what sign companies should know?
Yeah, I mean, I just I reiterate, I think maybe why we have such a good relationship with John is we really take that educational approach, right? Like our sales guys are not there to high pressure sales, right? We're not always the cheapest price, right? We're geared towards developing high quality solutions, right? And sure, one of my major roles recently is to look at where we can save money, right? Because we need to be competitive in the market. But again, our goal long-term is to make displays that will last throughout the long haul, right? It's not something that's going to be a couple years and then thrown out, right? It's a quality long-term product. I think that's probably something maybe John would talk to you a little bit about, is that, when we go to find our dealers, right, we're not going to go and just sell to everybody underneath the sun, right? We want to build a relationship so that we can trust that, somebody like John is going to be there to support locally, right? Samsung's a big company. We've been around for a long time, and we're going to be around for a lot longer. That's a big industry issue, right? Is there's a few companies that are more prominent, but there's a lot of, kind of fly-by-night companies that come and go. And, to be a vendor that sells that to their customer, knowing full well that maybe 2 years from now that company's going to be gone, that's not the relationship we're looking for, right? We want quality, and we want long-term relationships that, when Bert Ogden bought us a screen, I want to say probably maybe 10 years ago, they first bought up screens from us, that we build that long-term relationship. And sure, we have our technical issues just like any other manufacturer, but, standing behind the product is something that's something we've always done and will continue to do.
Yeah, and what do you think it is about display technologies? How are those helping capture audiences or communicate better than perhaps a static print?
I mean, I think today, in today's day and age, it's the biggest thing is flexibility, right? Because, especially with this COVID solution, you've got, one day to the next, your messaging can change drastically, right? Like you could be open and closed, or open with restrictions, or open at a certain capacity. And, if you were to try and do that with print, getting somebody out there to install it may not even be possible. Whereas with the digital solution, you can remotely manage that through, be it Magic Info solution, through Samsung for all of Samsung displays, or maybe it's a matter of tying into our cloud-based solution for our LED screens. We have a banner software that it's just you can manage it from your phone, right? And so being able to have that flexibility, I think that's critical. And, being able to take some of your time on your display and dedicate it to either public service announcements or to, honoring those first responders. Those are things that, with print, you would never even consider doing, right? Just the cost is too high. Whereas with digital, you can mock up an advertisement and throw it out there, and maybe it's up for a couple of minutes and you're done with it, right? But that's the flexibility you get with digital.
Yeah, and we've had a lot of discussion, both here and just, I know everyone in life has been talking about establishing a new normal. I'll let anyone jump in on this one, but how are folks using digital signage in doing that? We've talked about the public service announcements, but just kind of trying to find a foothold where we're moving forward with all the challenges of 2020. How can digital signage play a role in that?
Hey, this is Ed. I can jump in on that a little bit. We're seeing that the issue, especially with in the education vertical. And in K-12. So as school districts try to figure out, are we going to go back to school? Are we not going back to school? Is it a hybrid? Is it a remote learning? That communication out to the community and the parents and the teachers are critical. And I know in our school district and here in Texas, every single school has a electronic message center out in front of the school. And, in good times, it's talking about maybe the weather or a yearbook sale or a football game. But in times like this, it's giving information out to the community to help them and maybe on numbers where they can call to get assistance. And then as we're in the classrooms, the schools are trying to figure out, how will we message out to the kids about washing their hands and socially distancing and wearing a mask. So we're seeing just regular signage throughout the school with that kind of messaging. And some of our products have templates like that you can just plug and play and put them up there so that you don't even have to worry about creating them. And it is really all about content creation, right? So you can have a sign out there anywhere without good content and meaningful content. You kind of get lost. So it's critically important to have that. And Samsung and Prism View, we have software tools that allow you to create and manage that content and whatever message you want. And as we were talking about earlier, to quickly adapt and make that change to whatever that environment is. and it's changing, unfortunately, sometimes changing daily, weekly. So it's much more important to have the ability to have digital signage to be able to get those messages out.
Yeah, definitely. You know, and this can be either, I think, Ed or whomever, but I think the folks listening might be interested to know. You gave some ideas. We know that Natasha's with an auto group, and you talked about schools. What are some industries where you think digital signage is a home run, and are some sales potentials for our listeners?
Well, from my side, real quick, I'd say retail is really important, and quick serve restaurants. That whole drive-through piece. So today, if I drive down the road, I want to know, are you guys open for dine-in? Is it 25%? Is it 50%? Is it takeout only? Do you have a drive-through? That piece of messaging is important, as well as in retail. I mean, you can just drive down the street today and, or certainly back in March, April timeframe, and trying to figure out, if I wanted to go to a place, what is open and what is not. And a static, handwritten sign in the window is just not cutting it.
Yeah, so it sounds like people kind of want to know, is it open, and what is it going to be like if I go in? Are the tables spaced, or what has been done? And I think Natasha spoke to that a little bit. Natasha, do you want to address that quickly? What kinds of messaging, if you could reiterate, that you're doing to kind of reassure folks that it's safe to come in?
Yeah, I mean, so the beauty of it is, it just absolutely eclipses billboards, because it is so readily changeable and customizable at a moment's notice. And, we can change it 20 times a day if that's what we chose to do. So, there's everything from sales and service specials, which is obvious, to, just messages honoring fallen law enforcement officers, to information about their public services for funerals, to letting people know which pharmacies will deliver to the elderly, posting extended grocery store hours for the elderly, giving people more information about varieties of delivery services they could get. And then within our stores, we talk about, focusing from more of a little bit more of a public service aspect, but about our own businesses. We talk about the fact that all law enforcement and medical personnel right now get priority service in our service department, so that we can get them in, out, and back to doing what they do to keep us safe. We visually show, and we use videos. We do use some still images, but we also use videos to show you what does the sanitization process look like on your vehicle before we deliver it back to you, so that you know that you're getting a vehicle that is clean and germ-free. We have some videos showing them how we're transforming our business to have even the purchase of a car available to you, not only online, and to completely view the sales and shopping experience online, and then have that vehicle delivered to your door, but also that there's curbside services. There's curbside services that are available if you don't want to go that far, but you also don't want to come into the dealership. We show you what does it look like when you do want to come into a dealership, and the fact that when you walk in, you're going to be greeted by somebody who's wearing a mask, and it's posted everywhere that masks are required, and that we're going to check your temperature, and that there's just all these safety measures. And it seems like a lot, but it's really worked well for us, for people to know that they could still come to our facilities and still be safe. And then, other things include when we have big community events, particularly those that we sponsor, of course, we can post those online. But I'll tell you, too, I think that municipalities are also quite interested in these signs. I had a mayor of one of our local cities come visit me for the specific purpose that he wanted my sign pole, and this is not a sign that we have commissioned AAA to put up for us yet, but it's one that we plan to do in the future when we put our next new dealership there, wanting me to let them have our sign pole, and wanting to rent the airtime on the billboard back to me. And I said, no, I said, we're not going to do that. We can work that one the other way around. That's my sign pole, and I'm going to put up my sign, and I'm going to control my sign, and I won't even charge you rent, but I will let you put up community messages that we agree with. But he was that interested in that sign because he thought it was a fantastic way to get information out, not only about big events like Siesta Days or our big parades, but also to get basic information out about, things like COVID-19 and what are ways that you can stop the transmission of this, and what are the particular unique rules in the city, and, reminders that, you must wear a mask in public at all times. So the interest in these types of signs is really widespread. And like I said, it eclipses anything that a billboard could ever do. And the quality, at least on our boards, I'm sure there's boards of all different qualities, but and then John could tell you more about what the quality of our boards are. I couldn't even begin to speak to that, but the video quality and the images are so crystal clear, and they're so rich, and there's signs put up by other companies that you can't even see during the day, but whether it's day or night, I mean, you can just, they're perfect. It's just, they're beautiful.
Yeah, John, I know we might have missed you earlier. Did you want to jump in and talk about what you're using and your comments from before?
Yes, ma'am. What I wanted to talk about was what the industries that are currently are the restaurant industries. It's also hospitals, municipalities, school districts. The biggest one right now is school districts. We just had one school purchase 23 message center, 23 units. And they're right now, we're currently installing them already, and they're putting up COVID-19 information for the students, for the people out there, because we do have a lot of rural communities here, a lot of rural families that live quite a bit outside of town. So these are right now perfect for them because you can actually put quite a bit of message on there, up to 10 at 10-second increments. You can view them 27,000 times a month if you wanted to. You can schedule them a year ahead of time, which is what Bird Ogden does. Bird Ogden does put quite a bit of information on there. But we do have the city of Brownsville has a billboard. The school district for PSJA here in the Valley has a billboard. Bird Ogden has 3 billboards. And then almost every single school district in the Valley has purchased a message center from us. Currently, we are using Samsung. We have been using it since I've been here. I've been here for 3.5 years. And it's what I like about Samsung is their communication. They talk you through the process. They let you know what's going on, let you know what the status is of your sign. And that's the best thing about it, because at the same time, we turn around and tell our customers where we're at in the process, and it gives them peace of mind. Biggest thing is you want to buy a good quality product that's going to last you years and not have to worry about it if it's going to go down tonight, which is why Bird Ogden is one of our biggest customers. They're one of our best customers, and they do communicate a lot with us. We also have in-house, we have technicians. We also offer our customers maintenance agreements which is just like when you buy a car, you want to buy a maintenance agreement for your car. That way it'll last you 10, 15 years. That's exactly what we do with a lot of our customers. So we're able to service their signs on the spot, 24-hour service for our big dealerships. If your sign goes down today, it'll be fixed tonight. And that goes down to peace of mind. That's the service that we offer as a company, AAA. And that's why we love Samsung units. Bird Ogden does have all Samsung units, and we service all their units whenever they do go down. And we also help them put up information, which is what we're here for, giving them peace of mind as well. So yeah, hospitals, cities, schools, those are the ones that are targeting restaurants, or the ones that are looking at it right now.
Awesome. So we are going to shift to some live questions. It's not too late, folks. We've got a few minutes. We're going to ask pretty much anything you send in, as long as we have time. So our first question from a listener is, what COVID-related, this might be one for you, Ed, what COVID-related products that you mentioned have had the most customer interest?
Yes, thank you. So I think the one that has the most interest has been the temperature sensing device and message board. So, and again, there's a multitude of different solutions right now that we're trying to target and trying to work with our customers on. And I think the most simple one is just a straight out display with the messaging. We're tied to the particular environment. But we have seen a lot of interest with, our non-contact temperature check. It checks your temperature before you enter the building. And it's putting out messaging. It can control how many people come into an area. Like if you've hit capacity, it's got a counting mechanism on that. So a lot of interest on that. Some of these solutions are not inexpensive though. So that's been, if there's a stumbling block there, it's trying to weigh that cost versus how practical it is to put that in there. We've talked to different colleges about that type of solution also because they're they've got their whether it's a library or a student hall. Once kids do go back, what's that going to look like? How are they going to control that environment? How many people can be in a room? So there's that sensing. Kind of like beacons out there they're actually sensing how many people might be in an area and if it's hit full capacity. So I think that for us it's come back to us, let us know. The beauty of Samsung is we have a pretty much a product and a solution for almost any environment out there from a display perspective. Is let us know what the maybe the issue is or what the customer's trying to solve for, get us involved, get our technical people involved, and let us be able to try to figure out what works for that particular customer.
Great.
Yeah,
and we've got
I could just add a little bit there too on that. So I think exactly what Ed said is right. I just wanted to reiterate a couple of key points that, some of these facilities, right, their first step was, how do we look out for our customers, right? And so they shifted towards a COVID solution that was maybe cheaper, like the temperature sensing kiosks. Whereas I'm working with some, high-end stadiums, right, where they're looking at, what kind of restrictions are going to be placed on them from a governmental level, right? So they're looking at maybe FDA-approved temperature sensing devices, right? So that's where their kind of dichotomy comes in, where trying to fit the needs, right? So if you're just trying to protect your customers, there's a great solution and pretty low cost, right, that you can implement pretty quickly. Or there's, high-end solutions that integrate with, basically kind of like security system types of aspects that will give you, a better image of what's going on in a facility. And so all those solutions, from the low end to the high end are things we can do. And that's why we have our, consultative selling people, right, trying to get the best solution for that end environment.
Got it. And kind of piggybacking on that question, we have a person asking, this is a big one. Can you compare the capital and operational costs of LED signs with printed and routed signs that might have multiple images or billboards? Is that a no? Are you all able to hear me?
I'm not sure. Yeah, no, I can. I don't know maybe if John has dealt with that before. From my side, I wouldn't be able to answer that and feel confident in my answer.
Actually, on that, I do have some information that I give to my customers when it comes to digital billboards, centers, to advertising. We do have a handout that we give them. On a message center, you're looking at about 4 cents per exposure. On newspaper TV, you're looking at about $1.40 per exposure. So there is quite a savings there. So it's anywhere between $1.40 to newspaper runs about 40 cents an exposure. Digital content right now is at 4 cents currently. So it's their biggest bang for their buck. If anybody wants it, they can go ahead and email me and I can get it for them. We do have that information around. And what I like about Samsung, and this is where it comes to our customers, where we educate, we have what's called the true versus a virtual pixel. A lot of companies out there share pixels. Samsung does not do that, which is why we enjoy using a Samsung unit. And you have 281 trillion colors, which means that you can put a full video on a Samsung billboard or Samsung message center, and it's going to look wonderful. But yeah, if anybody needs that information as far as how much it costs per versus TV, newspaper, digital advertising, or digital message centers, I know the cost is a big difference. And like I said, message centers are 4 cents an exposure versus $1 for an exposure.
All right, thanks for that detailed info, John. You saved us there. And so you can contact John if you want more info. He's at AAA Electric Signs. Is that right? Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Go ahead.
Another question. Are transparent LEDs gaining momentum in retail applications?
I'll take a stab at that. I mean, it's hard to say exactly where the market's going to go with that. I mean, there's been a pretty good interest in transparent screens, largely, I think, as a novelty to a degree, right? There are some implementations, handrails that, have transparent screens built in that I think could gain some more interest. The problem is that if you look at transparent screens today, they're typically a single-sided solution, right, where you could see it from the other side, but then your images are reversed, right? So you've got to really pay attention to content creation there even more. And then you're still fighting, basically with any LED technology, the only color we can't create is black, right? So we're relying on that contrast from either plastics and transparent. You're going to a situation where you just lack a lot of contrast. So I think you could see it take over in some spaces, but I don't think it's going to be a dominant advertising medium because of that.
Very cool. Another kind of industry-specific question asking about sport venues. And this person's wanting to know, what smart TV signage options do you have available for like athletic types of venues?
Well, I can take some of that, and Kevin might jump in too. But, from a signage perspective, if we're not talking about the giant LEDs, if you're talking about straight out signage, I mean, Samsung has pretty much a product to fit every need, whether it's a menu board or, straight out digital signage. And we also have the outdoor displays, the OH series that, as people are entering into an event, these are IP56 rated, so they're weatherproof. You can take a bat to it and hit it. You can spray paint it, and we can clean it off. So we've got a lot of different signage for that. We've got inside the suites. We've got 4K. We even have 8K if somebody is looking to upgrade their TV to that level. But again, that back to the Samsung really does have the display options with the most comprehensive line of display products out there. From outdoor to indoor. Stretch displays, 13-inch displays. There is no other manufacturer that has that ability and a team of people out there to help understand what you're trying to solve for, and then coming in with a solution, as we talked about being a consultant. That's what the team is trained to do.
Yeah, I think that's really key, right? I mean, being able to offer, it's pretty daunting from our sales side to be able to have all these options because we need experts in all of these different options. But if you can get a customer who's willing to sit down and listen and let us develop a package for them, right, we can really dial in to fit their exact needs. It's not, one size fits all, right? And again, it's hard to kind of portray in an environment like this, but as you look at across, our Display Solutions website or through Samsung's business website, there's a lot of different options we have, and you may go, well, this one looks pretty similar to that. Why would I choose that? Well, that's where getting our salespeople involved is critical. And, we're not that high pressure sales side, right? We want to be able to educate and develop a solution that fits real needs, not just, selling whatever we have.
Sure. And I've got another specific product question asking for an outdoor display size that would be 13 by 7 feet that could withstand winter conditions in northern Ontario, which I think are extreme, if I'm understanding.
Well, I for sure, I came from the installation side. That's how I started the company back when we were Yesco Electronics. And so I traveled around the country and installed displays from, Texas heat to or Arizona dry heat to all the way to working in Minneapolis in the middle of winter with a negative 50 with the wind chill. And I've never seen our screens fail because of cold weather. I've seen a few of the subcomponents, like we used to install some LCD monitors in our displays for servicing that they didn't work so well at negative 40, but the screens ran great. So we shouldn't have any problem supporting that. And a lot of that goes back to the quality of diodes and things that we're putting into our technology, right? We're not designing to meet a minimum specification. We're designing to meet the needs of what a customer is going to have. And especially with our outdoor LED products, we're really designed to fulfill the needs from, Death Valley all the way to, Ontario, Canada, or wherever, that's negative 40 in the winter and have that still operate, right? And so I wouldn't have any hesitation of putting our products in any of those applications.
Okay, so is there a specific line that they should look at, or you're saying kind of anything would withstand extreme temperatures?
Out of all of our outdoor LCD stuff or LED components, they're all designed to meet that requirement, right? So there's different product lines that kind of fit different budgets, but they're all designed to meet those requirements of weather and temperature variation.
Great. Okay. And it sounds like to some extent, folks might want to contact Samsung directly to discuss very specific concerns and needs, but that the temperature shouldn't be an issue. Although, my goodness, Northern Ontario, wow. Okay. Another geographical question. Someone's wanting to know if we can comment on digital signage and how it might be used in South Africa. Are there any notable differences to that of the U.S.? I have to say I'm not as aware of signage needs in South Africa as I could be. Does anyone have a comment on that?
I can take a little stab at that. I used to work with our international projects. It varies pretty drastically based on every municipality, but I would say, largely speaking, the needs aren't that different, right? If you look at some of the core components of what people are needing from digital signage, they're, trying to reach an audience that's, nearby. They're trying to communicate a message, and that's going to go across the product lines. And I would encourage, if there's a specific project, reach out to the Samsung reps. We've got people who work in South Africa. They can talk specifically about what products they see that are being used there and what fits the needs of their customer base best. So,
All right.
I would just real quick, Robin, I would just add to that, Samsung is a global company, right? So, we have, I think, 300,000 plus employees, and, we have a group that would handle South Africa. So if somebody wants to send us a message, we can connect them up with a team over there that can talk to them about what products are available and how we can help them.
Yeah, we'd actually be interested in hearing from some South African companies for Signs of the Times as well. So feel free to send us an email. We have another manufacturer describing themselves as friendly competition, wanting to know how involved are you and your dealers in getting codes changed to allow for more EMCs across the U.S. They're saying they still know of cities that don't even allow an EMC in the city. And I think here we're using EMC somewhat synonymously for a digital sign.
Yeah, so we definitely work with that. I don't know if we've worked with John specifically on this, but we really try and take a local approach to it, right? Because, it could be as small as at the city level that you require some sort of code change, or it could be involved at the city and the county level. And then depending on the application, it could be city, county, and state, right? So there's, instances where we're providing information packets, and maybe our sales guy will go to, local county meeting to help educate them, right? Because, it isn't advantageous for us as a sign manufacturer to have screens that look bad. I think one of the biggest complaints that people get is, oh, well, it's going to look like Vegas, or it's super bright. It's going to make the neighborhood, complain. And that's one of the key components that we've always taken advantage of in our product, right? Is we don't want it to be too bright at night either, right? We're trying to attract eyes to look at it. And if a screen's too bright, then that doesn't really serve our purpose either. And so being able to educate them on that. And I mean, I think it's probably been 6-7 years ago we worked with ISA, and I actually think Watchfire worked with them too. I think who submitted the question was in developing kind of a training packet of why you would consider implementing a restriction on brightness and how you could do it and actually go and enforce your codes, right? Because some of these cities have codes that they can't even enforce, right? Because they don't have the tools to go check a screen is within specifications, right? And so we work pretty extensively and continue to work with municipalities to get those regulations changed.
Yeah, we encourage sign companies to be involved in those efforts as well. All right, so we're going to do one final question before we close to keep us on time and on track here. We're just wanting to know, one listener is asking, what percentage of Samsung LED or LCD displays are sold through local sign companies versus integrators versus Samsung Direct?
So I can talk to that a little bit. I know my team only goes through sign dealers and our channels. When we get into the stadium type of events, and Kevin can talk to that better than I can because I don't handle that. My team doesn't handle the big stadiums and live events. I know there are times when we have to go direct based on the contract and being a prime. And then from there, we're pulling in different pieces and partners and subcontractors that help us fulfill that overall solution. But those are in my world, that's the rarity. I mean, Samsung has certainly sold some incredible events and big time installations, but the bulk of everything we do is through our dealer and partner organization. And so if I take out those live events, it's 100%. You know, that section of the biggest. Our group does everything through our channel, through our dealers. Kevin, do you want to add anything? Did I miss anything on that? Because I don't want to misspeak.
No, I think you hit the nail on the head there. I mean, the live event side of things, pro sports venues, college sports venues, those are areas where basically we're required to bid direct. And, we don't necessarily want it to be that way, but in the bid environment, that's how it is. And, we're not even looking to do all that work ourselves, right? So we have a group of subcontractors that we work with that are sign companies, right, that we have go out and work these facilities with us, right? We may hold the main contract, but we're working with them for the install. So, on paper, it may look like it was direct with Samsung, but we're working locally with providers. And then if you look at just the quantity of displays specific to outdoor LED, I mean, we ship way more outdoor LED displays through a dealer partner network, through, members of ISA than we do to these large venues. Now, if you look at area, maybe it's different, right? But there's a huge volume of displays that ship out that go through dealers. And we prefer that, right? Because what we're looking out for is what's the best situation for the end user, right? We may have a facility we've done in Southern California where we don't have a staff that's there who is trained to service that. And so we're going to look to train somebody like, AAA Signs here and have them go be that frontline person that we can rely on, and we're going to cut them a check to do our service work, right? And so we want that partner to be able to provide a higher level of service at the end user.
Perfect. So we are just about out of time. Thanks to everyone for attending and submitting your questions. Thanks to our presenters. And today's presentation will be available on demand starting tomorrow using the same link that you used for the webinar today. Thanks all. Stay healthy. Stay safe.
Thanks, everybody.